Okay guys, this is the Eclipse 2 class. This is going to go quick, okay? The next 2 weeks, you won't need your machine. This week and next week, okay? What we're going to do, and we're going to kind of see how far we're going to get. You may need your machine at the end of that second week. I don't know, it's just going to see how fast we can get through everything. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to really quick go through all the lessons that we went through in Eclipse 1. Just to kind of cover everything that we need to cover to make sure that you know it before we go into learning stuff to doing it with the machine. Okay? So we're going to go through pretty quick a lot of this stuff. A lot of this stuff we're really going to gloss over because I think you should know it already, so we're not going to go through and look at and listen to all of the little video players and whatever. Okay? So really pay attention. Okay, what I need you guys to do is go into Help, Install Lesson Player. We're going to load everything again. So just in case you went through and kind of messed with all those things, which you should have done, we're going to load them again. So go all the way down to, I think it's Table of Contents. So highlight the first one, and then shift arrow down all the way down, and then push enter. Got it? Ace? Alright. Alright, go back into Help, Lesson Player. Y'all know how to do the zoom in, zoom out? What is it? Slick?
FN F7.
Huh?
Control FN F7
Or what?
ALT.
Control Shift.
Oh.
Control Shift F7 zooms in, Control Shift F8 zooms out. And that's why we're going to do the lessons.
Well, mine is FN. Remember, mine is FN.
Oh yeah. And if you have the function button and it's not working with the Control Shift F7, then it's probably because you have the FN button, which is the function, and you're going to have to do function, Control Shift F7. Whenever you do any of the F with the number F1, F2, F3, F7, whatever, you're going to have to do the function button with that, okay? All right, so we've done the zoom. You guys know how to watch the visualizers, right? You put it on the here and do the Alt V, okay? So just like here, like you're going to watch the visualizer, click on it, you left click on it, and do the Alt V. Remember? If you don't start saying yes, I'm going to start watching, we're going to start watching the visualizer. It's going to go even slower.
Yes, we remember.
Okay, better. Okay, Alto, what is that?
Print.
Print, okay? Y'all remember all of the things that we had to do with print? Changing the settings, doing the fast track setting, all of that stuff. You know, when you go into Alto, it brings up the print. You can go into setup. You go into here and you can change all of your, you know, different printers. Then you go into properties.
Where's the one that said like rapid or fast something?
Fast track.
Yeah, where it prints.
Where you go into a printer. If you're in the printer, then you go into properties, and then that's where it says a print quality. So print quality right there is fast draft. Hit OK. Okay, all right? And, you know, when you go in, you know, right here, this is where you change the pages. Y'all remember that, right? So if you need to do, you know, just 1 through 59, you come in here, exit out 1 through 59, but I need to do page 102, so you do a comma, then 100. So it's going to do 1 through 59, and then only page 100. So you don't need to do 60 through 100 because you don't need those pages, okay? Y'all know that, right? Okay? If you don't, then that's the way you do it, okay? Copies is the same way. If you need to do more than one copy, that's how you do it right there. Any questions on printing? The toolbars. Y'all remember how to do the toolbars? You come up here to Windows, View Toggles, and then that's how you do your different toolbars. Okay? 1 is simple, just like I have it. 2, you start adding the toolbars. You see how it's starting to add? 3, 4, 5, 6. Guys, like I told you guys in the first class, you don't need all of this junk, okay? You don't need all of that. So you're just wasting room on your editing space, okay? So really all you need, turn them all off, and then just put the 1. Really, that's what you need. This is going to get you pretty much where you need to go. Everything else you can do through these little windows right here. You don't need those icons up there. So you're just wasting room, okay? Also, you want to have the auto magic on. Info bar if you want it. I don't really, I mean, I have the pop-up bar, but I wouldn't suggest maybe you guys do it just yet. Okay? And it's when you pop on the word, like say you're right here, it's going to pop up right here. Instead of the auto magic being over here, which it still is, it's going to give you a list of words right here above the word. Okay? That's what the pop-up is. Okay?
What is the info bar? Oh, that's all those right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay? You want the hotkeys on? Where it shows you the hotkeys. So, you know, when you're over here and it tells you insert a word, it's going to give you over here in. When you're in hyperkeys, it's going to tell you to get out to insert a word is in. Okay? So you don't, you know, it's the little shortcut that tells you. Okay? So you don't have to go into all of that stuff. Got that? Any questions about that? Read notes. You guys remember, or you should, on the reading notes. So say you're...
That confuses me, the Alt-I and the Alt-T. Like, when would we actually use that? I mean, like if we were if we were doing something and we exited out of it. Right?
Yeah.
For one day we're practicing, right? And then we come back and we want to continue on that same...
Yeah.
That same place. Is that when we would use the insert notes, or you know what I mean? Like to go back and get back into that same
No.
transcript.
No. This is when, like say you show up to a depot and your computer crashes. No big deal. I mean, it is a big deal because of the computer, but it's no big deal because you can still write. So your machine has a little SD card in it. It's writing everything to the SD card, okay? So when you're done with the job, you go in, insert the SD card into your computer, and then this is how you do it. And to read notes is Alt-I. Now remember that? Do we need to watch that video? Guys.
I don't really use it, but...
Well, and you may not, but you need to know how to do it. You need to know how to do it because it could be on the final exam. Okay? So Alt-I, you know, is read notes.
And that's just taking whatever's on your SD card and putting it on your screen.
Yeah. So all it's going to do is just read the notes on. That's all it's going to do. Okay? And then you go through, and so what you do, I'm just going to show you real quick. Alt-I brings up this right here, read notes, okay? Then you come up here to new source location, and it's going to bring up a totally different window once you have that SD card in there. So what it's going to do is it's going to bring up the dates that you have on that SD card, okay? And what it does is it lists it by month. So it's going to have, it's going to look something like this, 201601, and then 201602. So that's what it's going to look like. So when you first pull it up, it's like, oh God, what's that? And if you've never seen it before, you don't really know what it is. Well, it's the year and the date, okay? But if you don't know what you're looking at, it can be a little confusing. What's 201601? I don't know what that is. Well, that's the date. It's 2016. 01 is January, okay? So if the job was in February, then you need 201602. You press into that, which should be right here. Then it's going to bring you to a blank screen like this. You go in a new source location again. Now it's going to break it down by the days. So now it's going to have February 1st, 2016, February 2nd, 2016, February 3rd, 2016. So every day that you wrote in February, it's going to have those dates right there. You go in, select the date. Once you've selected the date, you push read, and it's going to read those notes from that day. So it takes a little while, so it takes like a second, so you have to wait. I mean, because it almost looks like it's not doing anything. Then all of a sudden it pops up right here, 28,567. Like, what's that? Well, that's how many strokes you wrote on that day. Okay? And then that's all you do right there. Exit out of that, then you're done. That's how you read notes.
But then if you want to see your actual writing, then you have to go Alt-T and translate.
And translate, which is what we're going to do next. Okay? Got that? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So now, once you've read the notes in, now you go to Alt-T. Alt-T brings you to this window right here. Okay? So now what you want to do is you want to select your notes. So now you come here, notes, and it's going to bring it, and once you've been working a while, it's going to have all these dates right here. So you just go in, select the date that you want to, left click on it, say yes on open. Now it's going to bring it right here. So now it's going to say it was February the 2nd. So now you have 2/2/2016 on the notes. Now it's 2/2/2016 because that's the text that's going to go in there, okay? So what you want to do is, all depending on what you want to do, say you have an attorney that calls you and says, hey, Dave, I need you to look up that hearing that we had on 2/2/16 and give me a price estimate. Okay. So I go in here. Well, I don't want to do a tran edit because a tran edit means what?
Edit it.
Hmm?
It's going to take longer because we're going to edit it, right?
Yeah. It means it's going to translate the job and you're able to edit. So it's going to go slower because it's having to do multiple things. It's allowing you to edit while it's translating, so it's going to go slower. Okay? Well, you don't need that because all he wants is a cost estimate. You don't have to start editing it because you don't know if he even wants it yet. If his client can't afford it, they say, you know what, Dave, never mind, I'm not going to need it. So what you're going to do is a quick tran. So a quick tran is, it just reads the job. You're not allowed, you can't go in there and do anything to it while it's tranning. But it's going to do it quicker. And it's going to go through that whole job, putting your dictionary in, and then at the end it's going to tell you, okay, it was 137 pages. Okay, so now you know. But once you read it in, you have the notes here, text here. Your main dictionary is always going to be in there. It's always going to come up right here. And that's why it says main. And it should have your name in there whenever you're going to read in a job. All right? So if you want to add a dictionary, then you come into here, dictionaries. And it's going to open all your job dictionaries. Every job dictionary that you've done. So when you go in there and you're editing or whatever, and it's like, you know what, this was a brief for this job only, and I did Rod because it was Mr. Rodriguez. Well, next time Rod was going to be Mr. Rodman. So you don't want it in your main, you just want it in a job dictionary. Well, you know what? We're doing depots on the same lawsuit with Mr. Rodriguez, and we're going to take Mr. Rodriguez's deposition again. So I want the same, I'm using the same briefs, so I want to use the same dictionary. That's when you would add a dictionary in there. Okay? So you've already added it to a job dictionary, so you want to put, your main is already going to be in there. Now you start adding the job dictionaries. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yep.
So you select the dictionary right there, boom, say okay, and it puts it in right here. So now you have that job dictionary. You want a quick tran, okay, then come up here and do okay, and then it does a quick tran. Okay? Now you have an attorney that calls and says, you know what, Dave, I'm going to need that hearing from 2016, and I need it. You can do it one of two ways. You can do it this way, which I'm going to tell you, or the way that I do it. Okay? You can say, okay, and then just start doing it. Or, you know what, I need to check first. If you trust the guy, if you trust the person and you think you can trust him, and there's some attorneys that I do. I know that they work in our court every day. They're not going to jack me because they got to see me every day. So trust me, they're not going to want to do that. All right? So if you know that you can trust them, you say, you know what, okay, I'll do it. I need a check in the morning though. Have somebody send me a check. You know what, Dave, I'll be there in the morning. I have a case in the morning. I'll bring you a check, but can you please start that case? If you're not backed up, then he gets in line. But if not, it's like, you know what, I'll start it tonight, whatever. Now you can do a tran edit because you know that he wants it, you know that he's bringing money, and you can get started on it. So you go into a tran edit, press OK. Now it starts tranning. You go up, left click on there, and it stops it. Well, it keeps tranning the rest of the job, but you can start editing right then and just start going through the job and editing. And that's what this allows you to do. Okay? So it all depends on what you want to do. Say he wants the job, and it's like, you know what, Dave, I do want that job. But, I'll bring you a check in the morning. Okay. Well, they call you, hey, we're going into court right now. Let's go. Okay. Well, you know what? I'll just do a quick tran on it because I'm not going to be able to edit it right now. I'm going into court. So I'll just do a quick tran on it, let it tran while I'm in court, and then I come out and I know how many pages it is. So as soon as I know how many pages it is, then I call him back. Hey, have me a check for $800 because it was so many pages. Okay, no problem, I have it. You're done. So it all depends on what you want to do as to what you select right here. Okay?
You can do that. Let's say you have a computer in your office, you can do that, and then it's not going to conflict with your software as far as Eclipse. And so you've got two Eclipse running at the same time when you're working in court, and then
as long as you have two keys. If you have two keys, or you go keyless. If you're keyless, then you're okay. But if you're not keyless, then you need that key in order to work in court.
It's like
So now you're going to have to wait.
Isn't it like a USB or something like that you take out from your computer? And
Yeah.
then you come back to your office and you plug it in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like. It's just a little USB. And that thing right there, you don't want to lose that. That's about $5,000.
And Eclipse supplies that for you. Eclipse supplies it?
Supply?
Or who gives you that key?
As soon as you pay, they supply.
And then it comes with the software.
Yeah, it comes with the
When you
software.
purchase the software.
But now what they're doing is they're trying to go keyless. So, I mean, once you pay for, but with the keyless, you have to keep your support up. if you don't keep up your support, then
Then you can't use Eclipse
yeah, I don't think you can.
simultaneously,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
What
So
is keyless?
it means you don't need that key. Once you get into Eclipse and you're on, you're ready to go. As long as it's loaded on your computer and you have internet access somewhere, then it's ready to
So
go.
it's like a Bluetooth type thing, it picks up what I'm writing?
Yeah. No,
No ports?
no. I mean, and they have that. They have that too, but that's more with the machine. This has nothing to do.
It seems that way you can access your Eclipse, because like, you know, you purchase one software, you purchase one Eclipse software. So they give you a key so that way when you're in court, you have it on your laptop while you're writing, but then you need to go back and edit somewhere else, and you take that key out. That gives you the access to open up your Eclipse and you can put it
On
into.
any computer? Is there a limit how many times I have to put that key somewhere else?
Well, you have to pay for those keys. So you're not gonna have very many of them. I can promise you that. I only have one. I think those keys are,
But I guess.
you know, for like an additional key is like $2,000 or
Like,
$3,000
can you
bucks.
put that key in this computer and then Diana's computer and then her computer?
As long as it has Eclipse. Mhm.
So then with that key, you're able to run 2 Eclipse simultaneously. Let's say you need to do a quick.
No, with that key, you can only do one.
One, okay.
Yeah.
So then how can you do a quick translate, then go to work?
If you're keyless.
Oh,
If you're keyless, then you can. And you have multiple computers, then you can. But let's just say you have one computer, okay, and you're in the, then all you do is do okay, come here, and then minimize this job, and then go into real time, and while that thing is editing, you're doing real time.
Oh, okay.
So you can
Okay,
still do it.
Okay, I see.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
can still do
on
it.
the same computer, you're just doing 2 things on the same
Yeah, you can.
computer. Okay, I
You
thought
can. So
had
you can be
one.
doing a quick tran and then also
Do a real time.
doing real
job.
time, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay? So yeah, there's ways around it. All right. Any questions about that, about translation? And the real-time translation, y'all already know. Y'all already know how to do the real-time, okay? Any questions on that? Yes?
No.
No. All right. Go back into help. Lesson player. Hyperkeys. How do you zoom in?
Shift F7.
Huh?
Shift F7. Oh,
Control,
control.
Shift, F7. Okay? That's why we're doing these lessons. That's why we're doing these lessons. Got it? All right. How do you turn on hyperkeys?
Alt-Z.
Alt-Z. Okay. How do you get out of hyperkeys and you want to type something in?
And
In. Correct. What's an oops key? Z. In hyperkeys.
which doesn't work all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't work all the time.
Huh? In hyperkeys?
Yeah.
It does not work all the time
On doing what?
on what it's supposed to do. Like I don't know what.
Well, give me an example of
Well,
what you did that it didn't, and give me the exact example, because if you do one thing wrong, it can change it, and that's why it's not working. So.
Okay, for example, I changed the word. You know how we use the W? It's
Yeah,
the W,
endings?
okay, yes, for your endings. And say I put. I don't know how I did it. I don't know if I stacked something. I guess it was like the wrong spelling. I put the wrong ending, so it made the word wrong,
Mhm.
right, incorrect.
Yeah.
So then I hit the Z to undo it, and it took me all the way down to the bottom of my page. And so then I had to scroll back up to find where I was editing it at that point. Yeah, it does that to me.
Yeah, it does that.
Randomly, it'll take me all the way down to the page.
But then push Z again, and Z will probably take you back. You may have gotten into a different window. If there's a window that's open, you can't do anything. You have to close that little window. So let's just say you do something and it's. And you go there, okay? Well, I don't know where that is. No idea. It's not doing it now either. Let's see if we can do it. Okay, let's see if we can do it. So right here, you push W, and we're gonna do ING. Or we're gonna do S, we'll do S. So now it's accidentals. So now you said you push Z,
See, it doesn't do it.
Z again,
No.
puts the word back.
I mean, I know it's working here, but on mine, when I do it, and it's happened to me several times. Now, it doesn't happen to me all the time,
Mhm.
so I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing, but to me, it seems like I'm just hitting Z because I hit the wrong thing that you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I misstroked and I'm trying to undo it, and if it's supposed to undo it, I'm not sure why it's taking me all the way to the bottom of the page.
I'm not sure why either. On
I mean,
an
the next
ending,
time-
if you're putting an ending, why it would take you to the bottom of the page if you're trying to correct it.
Yeah, I mean, the next time it happens, I'll make note of it.
Yeah. And then come back and tell me, but that's how you do it. So the oops key is Z in hyperkeys. So you can try this next time. Try the Shift Z, and it'll take you to the last editing spot. So if you end up down at the end of the page, try that Shift Z, and see if it'll take you. And if it doesn't, then try to make note of what you did, and then we'll try to mimic it when you come back, and then we'll see what's going on.
And I guess what they mean there by scan forward is that it takes you to the end of the document, because the same thing has happened
That's
to
what
me.
it, yeah.
Yeah,
it did
so I
scan
mean, and it
forward.
may have scanned forward for some reason.
But I'm not hitting shift. I mean, because
Well,
I'm
you may have
hitting-
hit E,
Yeah, it's saying
and
that
what,
if it scans forward, do Shift Z.
and see what E does,
Oh.
what E does is it's gonna take you to, like if you push E, it takes you to the next enter. The next highlighted enter, okay? So it's gonna take you to a blank field, and that's what this is. Well, you know what? I didn't want that. Well, if you push Z right here, that's what that does. Well, you don't want to do Z, because it's the window. So you get out of it, now you push. Now it's not doing it. You do Shift Z.
Shift Z has to be out of hyperkeys, no? Or is it in hyperkeys?
No, it has to be in hyperkeys, because if not, then it's going to do Shift Z is going to do a capital Z. But it's not taking me back. I don't know why it's not doing it, but it didn't take me back to the spot either. And that may have been what you did. Let's see if it does it. So you're here. You do that, G. Now you push E, it takes you back there. You know what? I don't want to be there. Do that, Z, takes you back. Okay? But you have to be careful with what you do, because if you do a function anywhere in between there, then it doesn't know what you did. So you've already moved on to something else. Now you're trying to backspace to the other thing that you did. Well, it doesn't remember because you've already done a key. You've already moved it over or something like that, and maybe that's what you did.
I'm inserting.
Yeah.
Like I'm going, as I'm going along, I'm inserting, oh, that seems wrong, and then I insert, and then I'm like, no, 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 and then I hit the Z. Like
And
it happened, and maybe that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I could see that happen.
Okay. And that's probably what happened.
Okay.
But if it doesn't, then, you know, kind of mark what you did, and then we'll kind of go over to whatever. You know how to go to a trouble spot, untran, and conflict? Yes?
Yes. Yes.
So if you do the T, you know, it's going to take you to the next untranslate, okay? And if you do U, well, there's not one, so it's going to take you to the bottom. Let's see if it does it now. No, there's not one on this page, so it's not going to do it. Oh yeah, it did do it. And then C for conflict. I guess there's not any conflicts. On this page.
Which one is whenever you search a word throughout your transcript and then you want to keep finding it?
Control L. Try it. So do F5. And type in D.
Like letter D?
D, T-H-E.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
And now do Control L.
I needed that.
And it'll go to every D that you have.
Um,
Okay? So when you do a search and find, and you want to keep doing it, like say you have Rodriguez, well, you spelled it with an S instead of a Z. Okay? So now I need to go through the whole document and change every Rodriguez in there. So you do a search and find, which is F5. Type in Rodriguez with an S, and every time it goes to Rodriguez, you go there, change it. Now you do Control L, it'll take you to the next Rodriguez. Change it. Control L takes you to the next Rodriguez. Okay? So what it's going to do is take you to the next time that you use that word that you did a find and replace. Okay? Any questions about that? And you know Alt-Z will toggle hyperkeys on and off. So you want to turn it on, Alt-Z. You want to turn it off, Alt-Z. Or you just do N. N turns it off also, the letter N. Okay? Got it? Okay, do you guys have that sheet of the hyperkeys? Now remember most of the hyperkey functions? I'll take by that face, no you don't.
Well, I'm looking at them. Some of them are familiar. What is butting in? Like just going in there and typing? Can't you just start typing?
Butting in?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I've
Capital
ever
B.
used that. Oh, it allows you just to kind of do different blocks. You can cut and paste read in, divide, copy, you know, whatever. But you can do those things anyway, okay? That's pretty good to know. I never even knew that one either. I don't use it. I don't. So, you know, all of this stuff I can do with other functions, so it's not that big of a deal. Okay, any other questions about the hyperkeys, functions on the hyperkeys? Yes?
No.
No? So on, you know, a lot of these things, you know, it has like a small m, large M, so it's going to be the shift M, you know, if you want to mark something, or, you know, convert it to money. So the large M is converted to money, so shift M is converted to money, okay? The small m is mark. So you have to be careful with what you want to do, all right? So the one that you use the most, which would be mark, is going to be the small m. The one that you're probably going to do the least, which is money conversion, is going to be the large M. Okay? Any questions about that?
No.
Guys, study that chart. If you haven't already, you should have already done it. But if you haven't, go over some of this stuff and just mess with it and see what it does. I mean, you'd really be surprised with what it does and how much time it's going to save you by using these things. Okay?
It's really neat to see how they, because I've seen some quarter reporters work on it,
Yeah.
and they don't take their fingers off the keyboard.
And you don't have
I mean,
to.
occasionally if they need to get on the little pad, but
Yeah.
everything is right, they know
It's
the
right there.
commands.
It's right there. And the more you use it, the more it's going to come second nature. Okay? So you don't have to worry about it, you know, whatever. And especially like these. Putting a period at the end of a sentence, putting a question at the end of a sentence. Holy cow. Really good stuff. Okay? You're not having to shift over and control arrow over to try to do it. All you got to do, and you can be anywhere in that sentence. Push a P and it puts a period at the end of that sentence. Q and it puts a question mark at the end of that sentence. Reverse. Say you have it is, and it's supposed to be it is. Shift R reverses it. Okay? Y'all know that one, right? Time conversions.
I have a question for y'all really quick. When y'all do the and, how do y'all get back on hyperkeys? No, when you're doing and is to be able to type information.
I hit enter.
Right. I was thinking the shortcut to, so you don't have to do Alt-Z, you just hit enter and it automatically puts you back on hyperkeys and goes to the next one.
What's that?
When you press N to type over a word or something, I used to go to Alt-Z to turn the hyperkeys back on.
Yeah.
But to not do that, you just hit enter.
Yeah.
And it turns it back.
Yeah. So I think, you know, and I showed you guys this.
And that's for the lowercase n.
Yeah. So you know, if you're right here and you're in hyperkeys, and you want to, you know, type something in, and you press it, and then once it's, you know, the word is supposed to be whole. You press enter, takes you back in. Enter one more time, deletes that word. Remember that?
Yeah, I know. It scared me. I was like, oh no.
You push ZZ again, and it puts it back. So oops again puts it back. So now every time that you go to that word, I don't know that it'll do it. See, it automatically puts whole in there.
And you just hit enter, and it'll.
Enter, and it puts the word in, takes the word out, puts you back in the hyperkeys. Super cool stuff. So it remembers what word you put in there. So you have to be careful when you type the word in and then press enter, because next time wide comes up, we'll say you don't want hold there every time that wide comes up, it's going to put hold there, okay? Because it thinks that you're going to change it every time, okay? And that would be a good place to do the changing of Rodriguez. You see what I'm saying? So if you do rod every time, well, all you do is go in there and put the right Rodriguez, enter, takes you back into hyperkeys, enter again, deletes the other Rodriguez with an S. So next time you go Control L, takes you to the next Rodriguez, all you do is push in, puts the right Rodriguez in there, enter, you're done. Make sense? Really good. Good stuff right there. Any questions about the hyperkeys? And just takes you back into like a word processor. You're just typing. So it's not remembering anything that you're doing, okay? So I told you guys, and there's a time that you have to do it, and it's no big deal, okay? But if you don't have to do this, don't. Because every time you're doing this, and there are times that you have to, and that's okay. But every time you do this, the software isn't remembering anything you're doing. You're just typing, that's all. Okay? So if it's something that you can do with something else, do it. Because the software is going to remember what you're doing. The more you use it, the more it remembers what you're doing. Okay?
Here it is where it says when you finish typing, press the enter. That's the one I was talking about.
What's that? This?
When it says when you finish typing, press the enter key, because then it turns hyperkeys back.
Yeah. A second enter chops off the rest of the word where the cursor is. If you haven't spaced over. If you spaced over, then it's not going to do it. So you have to do it right then. Don't space over. And it's going to know to chop the word off. Okay? And that's what it's telling you right here. Enter. And y'all know the difference between the insert and the over, which is right here?
Yes.
I forgot.
You forgot? When you do insert, it's just going to type the word, okay? When you're in over type mode, what it's going to do is it's going to type over that word, okay? So you want to be careful with what you're in. You usually want it in insert mode. You don't want it in over type, usually, okay? So you want it in insert.
And how do you get to the over?
You just hit the insert key
I mean, okay.
at the top of your computer.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you right there on the screen, it'll say insert mode, and then you hit it again, it says OVR.
Okay.
The what?
No, just when you hit it on your computer, it'll tell you, it'll say insert. And then
Oh, and the insert key.
Yeah, and then it'll tell
Yeah.
you, if you hit it again, it'll say OVR
Mhm.
for over.
Okay, 0. The type over tracking, y'all remember that? It just kind of remembers what you typed over.
Oh, yeah, that's if you don't hit the insert, right?
Yeah, so if it's in insert, it's not gonna do it. Okay, but if you're in the over, then it will. Does that make sense? Okay, any questions about that? These are all things that we've already done. Toolbar configuration, mouse. I don't remember this, the Windows Explorer tip. Do y'all?
What most Eclipse users don't realize is that many Windows Explorer functions are available whenever you see a listing of file names. So if I highlight this file's name, I can simply press the delete key. What most Eclipse users don't realize is that many Windows Explorer functions are available whenever you see a listing of file names. So if I highlight this file's name, I can simply press the delete key to send this file to the recycle bin. I could also highlight a file's name and either right-click or press Shift F10 to open a context menu. You notice I can rename the file from here, delete it, copy it, cut it, perhaps paste it, and there's also...
Y'all see what it's talking about? So if you want to go in to your files and rename it, then this is how you do it. Left click on it, highlight it, then right click on it, or just go to the file, put your arrow on there, right click, and then it's going to open that box right there. And then you can do all of these things with it.
From here, delete it.
You can do all of these things. So if you want to create a shortcut, delete it, rename it, cut it, copy it, send it to another, you can send it to your desktop. You can send it to My Documents, any of that stuff. Print it, open it, okay? So if you want to rename it, that's probably what you're going to do most. Rename it or delete it, okay?
In what instance?
Copy it.
Huh?
In what instance would you send it to your computer?
Well, you could create a shortcut, which is what it's saying right here, and then it sends it to your, so if it's a big job and you know you're going to be working on it, you don't want to have to get into Eclipse every time. You just, it puts a little icon on the front of your computer. You just go right into it, go straight into the job. So you can do that from here. Okay? But the other way, I mean, you know, you can send it to your documents by doing like a PDF file. If you want to make a PDF file, y'all remember that?
For that, I go to like to print and then select.
Cute PDF.
Right.
And then select it there, and then it asks you where you want to put it. Well, I want to put it in my documents, and it gives you that option in these little boxes right here where it says file name and file type. Pull that little window down, and it's going to ask you where you want to send it. I want to send it to my documents, or I want to send it to my computer. Most of the time, you want to send it to your documents.
But by the time you do the PDF file, I mean, you've done your editing. You're not
Oh yeah,
going to be able to
yeah.
edit
Because
anymore.
once you put it in a PDF file, you can't mess with it anymore. You can't go in there and type. You can't go in there and edit anymore. Now you can go back to the original file. You can go back to the original file, do whatever you need to do, push PDF again, push print, PDF again, enter. Now it's going to ask you. It's going to send that same file to the documents. Well, you already have that file there. Do you want to override it? Yes, I do. So every time you're doing it, you just want to keep writing over it. So it's going to ask you, you want to copy and replace? Yes, I do. So that's how you do it. But you can't edit in a file that's already in PDF. Does that make sense? Okay.
Cut it, perhaps paste it, and there's also the option to send to the desktop to create a shortcut, which will make it easy to reopen a file that won't.
See, and that's what I was telling you, okay? So when you send it to your desktop, then that's what you can do. Create a little icon where it's at the beginning of your computer when you turn it on, and it's ready to go, okay?
Won't be transcribed in a single sitting.
Any questions about that? No? All right. Get out of that. We'll go to movements. Okay, so really this just takes you back. You guys should know this already. How to move around in hyperkeys. I, K, J, L. Okay? Up, down, right, left. Okay? J is left, K is down, I is up, L is right. Okay? Y'all got that, right? Y'all know about the hyperkeys are case sensitive. So the smaller case letter is going to be the one that you use the most. Okay? The uppercase is going to be the shift whatever. You have to make sure that you're in hyperkeys, because if not, it's just the shift is just going to make a large letter of that letter if you're in insert mode. Okay? If you're in hyperkeys, then it's going to do something different. Now it's a function. Okay? Y'all know how to spell check a word? Yes, and that's what it's telling you right there, spell check. Guys, this is, use that. Use that, okay? Y'all have the, it's not even on there, the spell check? Y'all have the spell check option?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all do?
Yeah, I do. But I just do the alt S.
You don't have the spell check where you can spell check the whole document?
Yeah, it'll do that. If I do it once, and then it wants to keep doing the whole document, and I think I press enter and it stops just at that word that I chose.
The Alt S does?
Yeah.
Really? Because usually you have it up here, so you come to the top of the document, do the spell check. Do y'all have that? Do y'all have that icon up here?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Here, it's not on here on this tutorial.
But on your jobs when you're working in something? Check and see if you have it. If so, use that. If not, then that's what this is for on the spell check. So whenever you're going through and it's like, how do you write, what was that?
What does it look like?
Pulsify, or what was it?
Oh, pleurisy.
Pleurisy.
Oh.
Yeah. Holy cow. So, what's that? It is? Okay. Use that, guys. Absolutely no reason not to use that. Okay?
And then once you're there, you can even look up the definition of the word to make sure you're using the right one.
Yeah. So it has, you know, definition or whatever. So you come right here, like on opposite, right here. Alt S. Let's see. Yeah. So it's going to bring up this little box right here. Okay? So it's going to give you all the different listings of, like, opposite. Did you mean apposite? Whatever? Well, you know what? I want to ignore it every time. So if you're doing spell check and you know that it's right and it's supposed to be apposite and it's coming up, well, do you mean opposite? No. It's right. So every time that apposite comes up, I want you to ignore it every time. Because if not, it's going to stop on there every time. Like say you have Krzyzewski in there, and you don't want it in your main dictionary. You don't want it in your main spelling dictionary. And if you want it, great. If you don't, no big deal. All you have to do is press ignore. Ignore all, and every time Krzyzewski comes up, it's gonna bypass it. It's going to say, you know what, it's right. But let's say Krzyzewski is spelled K-R-Y-V-I-C-E-K. I don't know how it's spelled. I know it's spelled K-R. All right. Well, one time you did, instead of K-R-E-C, you did K-R-E-K. I mean, instead of K-R-E-V, you did K-R-E-K. Well, it's going to stop on that because it's a totally different spelling than the one you told it to ignore. So then it's going to go on there. So if it stops on there, then that means that something was wrong with it. So you have to make sure that you check it and make sure that everything's okay. All right? Because if you told it to ignore all and it stopped on it again, then something's different. Okay? But you can add it to your dictionary. You can delete it from a dictionary. You can ask what the definition is. You know, so say it's going to be the one that you highlight. So that one on opposite is highlighted. You ask for the definition, now it gives you the definition. So you're going to know whether it's right, okay? And like on effect, affect, if you're not, you know, completely, then you know what? I don't know if it's a noun or a verb. And I think that's the way they're used, is a noun or a verb on effect and affect, okay? Then you can click on it and say, you know, okay, well, which one was this? On effect, oh, it's a verb. Well, then I needed the noun, so it has to be the other one, okay? And effect, I believe, is the noun. Affect, I believe, is the verb. So you can do a lot of things with that, guys. So, I mean, really take advantage of that, okay?
That would be so helpful because I did, you know, when you're transcribing.
And it truly is.
As two words and into as one word.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you got to stop and think instead of continuing to edit.
So you're wasting time. When you can do this, go to definition, check it, okay, that's what it is, change it, go on. That's right there, Slick. Control L. Locate next occurrence of the search text. That's what you were talking about. Okay. Any questions about that? You don't know how to do the apostrophe S? Oh. Alt A. Alt A. See how I just put the apostrophe on there? You do Alt A again, puts it on the other spot, or it'll add it. So you keep doing it and it'll finally take it off. So it gives you the different ways of making something possessive, okay? So, did you see what it just did? It has the apostrophe S. Hit it one more time. Now it's going to give you different options, but do it.
That's why I have to stop and think. On my keyboard, there's a key up on the top above the tab, and that's what I use.
What's that?
It's got like a little backwards apostrophe. And then that, I just hit it depending on how many times it's either after the S or before the S or.
Where?
It's right above my tab key.
And you use that for,
Mhm.
oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it does that for me.
I didn't even know that did it.
Yeah. That's
I
why I
learned
have to stop
something
and think.
tonight,
It's like,
too.
oh, it's not an.
Great
alt
review.
control.
Carmen, maybe the computers that
I know.
I
it's
can't
like,
see my
see.
But it's the Alt-A. Alt-A makes it possessive, okay? Any questions about that? On movements? No?
No.
All right.
What's the thing when you mark a spot and then you can go back to it? I know it was like Shift V or something.
I think it's Alt-X.
How is it that you're remembering on this stuff? I don't remember.
Who's that? Slick?
Yeah.
I took good notes last
I'm looking at all my, like, I have all of them here, but I'm like, I guess I just
semester. I
never.
don't even know why I'm asking. I could just look at my notes.
If I don't use them now, I'm
And that's why I'm telling you guys, use it. Because like that night, you're gonna remember it. After that, you're gonna forget it if you don't use it again. So keep using it, keep going over your notes.
look, I have Alt-A in my notes.
And what does it say?
It's like
Alt-A
3
what?
pages down.
Alt-A what?
Huh?
What is it?
Adds apostrophe, S apostrophe, apostrophe, or just S.
Yeah. So I mean, just go through there and read your notes. And then as you're messing around, you can even come in these tutorials and mess around with that stuff. You don't even have to be in the right one to mess around with some of this stuff. Okay? But the more you use it, the more that you're going to remember it.
So was it Alt-X? Was-
Alt-X, I believe, marks it.
Whoa, no, totally took me out of the clip.
Alt-X it?
What?
Maybe I would.
Yeah, it does.
I think it's me, because you want to think X marks the spot, but I don't think it works that way.
Oh, it's Shift-X. Look, it's in my notes.
What does V do?
Shift-V takes
V
you
puts it
back
back.
to the spot.
Shift V puts it back. It's Shift. Shift X, Shift V.
So Shift X marks this.
Yeah.
And then
Spot.
Shift-V takes
Now
you-
remember, it was that. It was X marks the spot.
And
But it's
then,
Shift,
yeah.
so it would make it a capital.
Yes, yes. And
So
my-
I'm in hyperkey.
In my Shift-X marks it, and then Shift-V will take you back to
Got it? Okay, now we're going over oops and delete. Got it? Pretty simple. I think that's it. Z is oops. Shift Z is it oops, last edit point. Okay? D is delete a word. Shift D is delete a character. Okay? So you're not going to delete a character very often. So that's why they put it as the shift, because it's the one that you're going to use the least. Okay? The D is the one that you're going to use the most, where you want to delete the whole word. Okay? Any questions about that? That was quick. That was a quick one. Trouble spots. Y'all in it? Okay.
I swear it's on off. I swear it is, it's just not.
Well, that's the loudest off I've ever. Okay, so trouble scans, scan to untranslates, scan to conflicts, scan to unresolved conflicts, and then fill in the blanks. Y'all remember these?
Yes.
So this is done prior to like editing, okay? So while you're editing, prior to editing, you know, and you want to do this stuff, that's what you're going to, okay? So we're here. Let's just see what it goes to. T will take you right there. And the red's going to tell you that it's a translate, okay?
I have T in hyperkey, lowercase t, and I have a parentheses that takes you, it says trouble scan multiple, like a multiple scan, trouble.
Yeah, that's it.
But so it
Trouble
just,
scan.
so you can hit T and it'll take you to anything, any untranslated.
Anything
any
that, you know, and all of this should come out. So if for some reason it's not, and it's a trouble scan, then that's how it's going to come out in a different color, and it'll take you to that.
Right, but it also take like it takes you to anything in purple. Well, mine in my screen
Yeah.
it's purple, so it'll take you to anything purple,
Mhm.
whether it's a conflict, whether it's just like
Like this?
Yeah. Will it take
Well, then
you-
that's what it did, because he probably fixed. Sorry. He probably he probably fixed it on the trouble. So that's what they did right there. Okay, and this one needs to be fixed, so it's red also. So it's gonna go to that red. Okay, so every time it's in red. Now you see it's in green. That's something different.
Oh.
Okay. So you come up here. You know, and you do U, and that's an untranslate too. So it must not have come out. It must not have translated, and that's what it is. So a trouble, you know, a trouble scan and an untranslate, kind of the same thing.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I don't use these a lot because there's a lot of things that end up translating, but it's not the right translation. So I have to go in there and change it. But if I hit, you know, just the untranslates, it goes to only obviously the ones that are untranslated, but then I have to go back to the document to make sure that it translated the right word. Sometimes, you know, I may have hit a correct outline, but it was not the correct one that I should have entered. So then it'll translate correctly for what I have on my notes, but it's not, I can't think of an example.
Oh, it has like artificial intelligence.
Right. It has that, and so it'll translate perfectly onto
But
my
that's not what it's
transcript.
supposed to be.
Right, but then it's not supposed to be that.
Huh.
I mean, I stroked it up.
You know how like the artificial intelligence is supposed to like guess what you wrote,
Yeah.
and that's what you're talking about, right? Like
Yeah, but
even
then-
if it's a misstroke, it's still coming out as a word,
As a word.
but it shouldn't be a word because it's a misstroke.
Right,
But that's
well-
because you're artificial intelligence.
Right, it,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it works
on.
so well that it just does it, so then I have to go back and, you know, really check my document.
Yeah. Well, you should anyway.
Mhm.
You should have to check it anyway, but I mean, yeah. And if you do, then I mean, you just have to fix that word. And it could be because of the artificial intelligence picked it up and it just thought that that's what you meant to put on there. And you didn't. You just have to change it. No big deal. And you're here. Press C. And that's how it is in a different color. And it's just telling you that it's in a different color and it's as a conflict. So the C, the small c, is for your conflict. And you do Shift C. And that'll take you to your conflicts here. So if you do your and your the same, on the job or on the job, hyphenated, the same, but you set it up as a conflict, and that's what it's going to be, okay? Then you just go in and select the right one. You had a complaint about your, what's it supposed to be? 1 or 2?
1.
1. You just select 1. Now it puts it in green, okay? So that tells you that that's the conflict. That's where the little c comes in. And it took you to your conflict that you already resolved. The Shift C is going to take you to the conflict that's unresolved, that you haven't fixed yet, okay? That's the difference. Got it? Select. What's on those crackers? I don't know if you listen.
I've been here since 8.
Huh?
I've been here since 8.
And then E, takes you to a field that needs to be filled in. So I'll fill in the blank, okay? That's what E does. And then you put whatever you need to put in there, the witness's name or whatever. So that's when you go and you put in your block files, your title page, your appearance page, your witness page, your exhibit page, all of that stuff, okay? And it's going to ask you for different things. Well, what's the cause number? Well, the cause number is not going to be the same all the time. So you create this fill in the blank field, okay? And then as you go through and edit it, you push the E and it goes up there, and then you put the information in there. Make sense?
So after the review, that's what we're going to focus on, right? Can we know that?
Like the block
Yeah,
file.
block files and all of that stuff. We're going to work on, I'm going to have people coming in, so we're going to work on multi-voice, stuff like that, and then you're going to start putting stuff together where we're doing like small hearings and stuff like that. You're going to put in like all the breaks. You know what, the judge comes in and says, you know what, off the record. So you do off. Well, it puts in a parenthetical that says whereupon an off-the-record discussion was had, which is totally different from break. Break is, you know what, Dave, go completely off the record. They're not having a discussion, we're taking a break. You know what, call in the next case. This case is gonna take too long, y'all step back. You do break right there. Then, you know, you do your end, they bring in another case, and then when you set it up, when you're going through, and I'll kind of go through it, it's probably not gonna make sense to you right now, but I'll show you how to set it up, you know, to where we're gonna do multiple cases, and then you're gonna have to go through and highlight that whole thing, copy it, paste it onto a totally different file, and then, you know, you had the other hearing that went on 50 pages, well, on page 51 it picks up. You're gonna go through, highlight all the way to the end of the document because y'all finished the case, copy it, paste it back into that thing, and it's gonna look like you did one hearing. And you didn't, you probably did 4 hearings in between that one. So yeah, well, we're covering this right now. so that you guys can get to that point, because you ain't there yet. Got it?
How do you find the video on YouTube? In the fourth place?
Yeah, I was doing
Right?
that.
Yeah.
So that's what we were just talking about, or you guys were talking about marking your spot. When you're in hyperkeys, you do the Shift X. It's not going to work if you're not in hyperkeys, okay? Because Shift X is going to give you a capital X, okay? So it's when you're in hyperkeys, and what it does is it marks that spot. So you can go down to the end of the document and press, you can do Alt-G, go to page, you know what, I want to go to page 999. Put in 99, go down, and it goes to page 99. Okay, well now I want to go back, and then that's where you do the hyperkeys Shift V. Shift V takes you back to the spot that you marked. Okay? So hyperkeys Shift X marks it. Hyperkeys Shift V takes you back to the place that you marked. All right? I think that what they're talking about globaling right here is, you know, when you're going to go in and global. So you mark your, how do you global something?
You mark
G.
it and then G.
Yeah. So if you want to mark more than one steno tracking, how do you do that?
You just press the M. You just press the M.
Well, you can do it that way. You can also do it Control G. Control G will mark as many as you need to also. Okay? And I think on the other one you can do like, what was it, Alt. Alt F7 is mark 2, Shift 8 is, Alt 8 is like 3, it automatically marks them. I don't like doing that because, if you know exactly how many you're going to mark, then it's good, but I don't so much like doing that.
Could you go back a little bit, David, on that, what you were just talking about, right there, where it says special entries?
Yeah,
Can we later on review that? Because
we're going to.
Okay.
We're going
In this
to.
lesson, okay.
Don't worry. And that's one of the biggest things that we're going to go over. So that's why, we need to go over this stuff and cover this stuff before we even get on the machine because, once we get on the machine, then this is already going to start doing stuff. So we don't need to start doing that until, we've got this stuff covered. But yeah, we're going to cover all of that stuff.
It's, what you were talking about, it's Shift 7, Shift 8, Shift 1, Shift
0.
0.
It's
one.
5.
Yeah,
Shift 0 is
7
5.
2, 8 is 3. So it's like global is
Yeah.
1, and then Shift 7, 2 is Shift 8, 3 is Shift
Yeah.
9.
So, do y'all get that?
Like to,
Slick?
Yeah, but I just like the end.
See, and I do
Yeah,
too.
me too.
I do too because I
That
don't.
sounds so complicated.
And if you know that it's a 3-stroke, then okay. Well, is it Shift F8? Really? You've already wasted time. Just do it. But if you know how to do it, that's what they're telling you. There's a shortcut. If you know that it's 3, then it's at F8. If you know that it's 4, it's F9. If you know that it's 5, it's 0, F0 or F10. Okay? So if you know it already, then great. If you don't, I just like, and there it is right there. 7 is 2, 8 is 3, 9 is 4, 10 is 5.
why do I have Shift? No,
I think it's Shift.
it's not Alt, use Shift plus numbers.
Yeah. I think it's shift. I don't know why they have alt here. I think it's shift.
That's what I have on my.
Let's see if it'll do it. I don't know if it will or not. I'll see if it's doing something different. And it's not really on the steno. So if it doesn't have steno, then it's not going to do it, and it's just doing it because it's words. Okay. So you might have to mess with it. I don't really use it, so I don't know for sure. But here it's saying it's alt. But if it doesn't work as alt, then it's shift. Okay. Let's see. Well, Shift F7 is opening up a totally different thing.
No, it's not, I don't think it's F7, I think it's just like shift 7, shift 8, like the numbers.
That's what it is. It's the number. It's not the F. It's the number. So it's shift. And it's shift because it's shift 7. It's not alt. It's shift. Because alt 7 isn't doing anything. Oh, shit. I don't know what it's doing. Something weird. It's opening up. It's trying to open up. So it's shift. It's not alt. So if you know them, that's what it is. It's shift 7, 8. It's not F. My bad for saying that. It's just shift 7, shift 8, shift 9, and shift 10. Okay? Y'all know about the untranslates and globals and AutoMagic. You know, what it's going to do is when you get on a word, it's going to give you what it thinks you're trying to guess. That's what it's telling you right there. You already know. It's going over conflicts again. So these are your conflicts on the your and your. Y'all remember that? Easy. Changing the colors.
When you're doing real time, you wouldn't put that on there, right?
What's that?
When you're doing real time, because then it'll come up,
You wouldn't put what on there?
like those conflicts, for you to be able to.
It's already in there. It's in your dictionary, so it's gonna come up. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, and they can decipher what it is or whatever. So, you know, and the artificial intelligence may figure it out. So it may put it in there. If it doesn't, then it'll come up as that. But I mean, the reader will be able to decipher what you're. But if you're typing your and your as a contraction the same, guys, seriously, it should be different. It should be. Y'all remember about colors?
Yeah, we don't change it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with them too much or whatever. If you want to, you can, but it's not that big of a deal. Form fields is what I was talking about. You know, it's the blank spots, the fill in the blanks. Those are form fields. And that's what it's telling you right there. E takes you to the next one. Let's see if it does it, and it does. It takes you to the next one. So where the witness's name is supposed to go, it's already highlighted because you know that that witness is going to be different every time. So what it does, it takes you to that spot, you fill it in, you press OK, and it puts it in there. It already knows how to set it up. Any questions? No?